Human trafficking is a heinous crime that involves selling people for sex or involuntary labor. It doesn't discriminate. It impacts every community, rich, poor, rural, urban, suburban, and it often happens in plain sight. Sadly, human traffickers often prey on the most vulnerable among us, those without a voice, which means children are often victims. We can all do our part to combat human trafficking by simply being aware of what's going on around us. You all can be our eyes and ears on the ground to help us save lives. Thank you.
As Attorney General Healy just explained, human trafficking occurs in every community, and most people don't even know it's happening. As one of America's 141,000 beer distribution employees, you can join us in the fight to end human trafficking. As you make your deliveries and sales calls every day, you can be an extra set of eyes and ears on the ground by being aware of the signs of possible exploitation. This short training video will teach you about common red flags and behaviors associated with human trafficking. It will also instruct you how to report suspected trafficking activity to the authorities. Thank you so much for taking the time today to become educated on this urgent human rights issue. We're grateful for the vital role you play in communities across the country and for being a part of the fight against modern-day slavery. Working together, we will end it.
Hi, my name is Kamala Zulfagari, and I am Executive Director of Street Grace, an anti-human trafficking nonprofit located in Atlanta, Georgia. At Street Grace, our mission is to end child sex trafficking. Thank you so much for listening to this today and for learning how you can be a part of the solution and you can be a part of ending the sex trafficking of our children. Human trafficking is a huge issue. Studies show 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually exploited before they reach the age of 18. Over half of the criminal human trafficking cases active in the United States today are child sex trafficking cases. And annually, human trafficking is an $150 billion industry for traffickers, $99 billion of which comes from sex trafficking. So why is it such a big problem? It is easily undetected. And that's actually why you are here today. In your daily lives, in your daily course of business, as you are going to accounts, you see things that other people don't get to see. And that is why you are crucial to this fight. Trafficking is also a huge problem because children are treated like a renewable resource. You can sell a kilo of Coke one time, but you can sell a vulnerable child over and over again, multiple times a night, nights in a row for sex. There's also a huge access to supply, and trafficking is all about supply and demand for the traffickers. That supply that is bought and sold is our vulnerable, our children. And there's a high demand. Those who purchase sex with children fuel trafficking. And in the United States, those who purchase sex with children are treated as traffickers just the same as those who are selling and controlling them. It's also, as we discussed, a highly lucrative crime. So today, our goal is for you to know what is human trafficking, how you can identify it, and what to do when you suspect trafficking. So trafficking is broad. It's a form of modern-day slavery, and it includes both labor and sex trafficking. Labor trafficking is any type of labor that is compelled by force, by fraud, or coercion. Sex trafficking is commercial sex that is compelled by force, fraud, or coercion. And that force could look like a gun, and it could look like a locked door and a chain and a beating, but very often it's a threat. It's, I'm going to tell someone what you were doing, a threat of homelessness, I'm going to kick you out, or I know where your parents live. So you may or may not see the chains when trafficking is happening. But fraud is deception. It could be, I promised you this great job. Oh no, actually, I'm going to start selling you for sex night after night after night. But when we're talking about children, in the United States, that's children under 18, They cannot consent to commercial sex. So child sex trafficking, also known as the commercial sexual exploitation of children, is any sexual activity involving a minor for which something of value is given or promised. And that can include money, but it can also be food, a place to stay, or drug use when they have a drug dependency. So what are the signs of human trafficking? And remember, in your daily job, you get to see things that no one else sees. You go into offices and buildings that no one else gets to go to, and no one knows that you are looking for signs of trafficking, so you will see more than many. So, you're looking for control. You're looking for signs of fear, relationships that are very dominating or controlling, someone who is dating or in a relationship with a significantly older man or woman. Third-party control of conversations, and that can be somebody who's always looking back over their shoulder at that third person before they answer your question to make sure they say the right thing. Or when you ask someone a question, that third party always answers for them and doesn't let them speak for themselves. Also, someone with unexplained fear or nervousness. You're just asking general everyday questions about business or about life, and they're afraid to talk to you. Areas that are suspiciously off limits. Locks on doors that shouldn't have locks. No access areas that you would normally be able to go in. Bars, signs, all of that can be signs that trafficking is happening. People who are giving conflicting statements to normal everyday questions. Again, signs of trafficking. Traffickers also use isolation to control their victims. And that can be isolation from community or family, but also people who are just isolated and not allowed to speak to those around them, including yourself. And then people with inappropriate clothing. And that could be inappropriate clothing because they are dressed and ready to be sold for sex, but it also could be inappropriate clothing because they were taken from their mother's house in June and now it's December and they don't have anything else to wear. So what do you do when you suspect trafficking? When some of these red flag signs appear and you also have that spidey sense on the back of your neck. First of all, go to a safe location. Then, if there's any type of immediate danger, call 911. 911 is the only resource that can respond to an immediate problem. If it is something that is more general and you just have a broad suspicion but nothing immediate is happening, you can call the National Human Trafficking Hotline wherever you are, 888-3737-888. And what all these people are going to want to know is where you were, what you saw that made you suspicious, and add that you suspect human trafficking is going on. We are making a difference, and when beer distributors get trained to identify human trafficking, exploiters have fewer places to hide.